Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the channel. If you're new to it, this is Hayden Newberry Fishing. I'm Hayden Newberry. I'm a travel nurse. I travel around the country, going to the places that I want to go bass fishing at, and I also fish the Bassmaster Opens. Previously fished the Toyota Series, and then hopefully next year, by some miracle, I'll be fishing the Opens again since they changed the rules. But today, I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot leading up to this Red River event, because places like this where I know going into it the bites are going to be kind of tough to get. I think about all the pre-fishing that people do and the amount of fish that just get beat up before the tournament, and I feel like I can make a fairly good argument that we should just stop pre-fishing. That going into these tournaments, I feel like it would be more beneficial to everybody if we just didn't pre-fish. If the rules said that you had to show up and everybody had to fish on a clean slate, or maybe even just have a short, few hours maybe the day before that everybody was allowed to go out there and look around or something, just so they could get a feel for the water. And I just feel like that would be the best way to go about it. And it's mostly because, one, going into a lot of these tournaments, you show up to an area that maybe you got a couple bites in practice. You don't know how many, maybe 20 boats have came through there after and each set the hook on one fish, and then you get back and the place is beat up, and who knows. Also, you get some people in the Bass Opens that don't have a restricted practice that maybe show up and fish a week before, and then you have guys that can fish 3 days, which that's not necessarily the top of the list of problems with it. But then also you get to expenses. So leading up to these events, you guys have guys that, if you want to compete with the guy that is pre-fishing however many days before, and everybody has access to it, you're spending however much gas, lodging, which that's also kind of how they sell these tournaments, these places too, is that we're going to spend money and pour money into the economy when we come to them. But from our perspective, I mean, how much time off work and money savings. I mean, you could essentially almost look at it. We've talked about plenty of times, I'm sure everybody has, since the change in the rules, that now the working man's been cut out of the sport. Okay, well, the working man might actually have a little bit of a chance of fishing all nine if he didn't have to take off work a full week. If he only had to be off for the days of the tournament for these Opens, then you possibly could fish all nine again. As opposed to now, I mean, if you're traveling these things, most of these guys have to take off a week and a half of work to fish a 3-day tournament. So I feel like you really could make a pretty solid argument that we could move towards tournament fishing where you didn't practice. But I don't know, that's kind of my take on it. I feel like, one, you could save everybody a lot of money on fuel, lodging expenses to have these tournaments, and maybe even at a lower level like BFLs or something, you could try it. And then also, it's way less pressure on the fishery. You have just overall, I mean, you're going to have, I guess, a more consistent fishing tournament. You're not going to have schools or anything that are getting beat up before day one. You're going out there and you're hitting them fresh. And I mean, people that maybe say you got to rely on practice to catch them, it's like, well, how are you getting bit in practice? I mean, a lot of those places that are gone by tournament day, if you had have got on that pattern right when you started practicing, then you could have maybe had a huge bag. And I mean, I've done that plenty of times. You go out and you just start catching them, and it's exactly how you thought it was going to be. And then by the time the tournament rolls around, everything's changed and you scrap your practice anyway. So I don't know. That's what I think. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video.